In late 2021, Halo Infinite finally arrived after a long delay and enormous fan expectations. The free-to-play multiplayer came in November, and a paid campaign in December on both Xbox and PC, and early reviews were cautiously optimistic. Critics praised Infinite's visuals, gunplay, open-world design, and soundtrack. Some outlets called it the best Halo's been in a decade, and a triumph of storytelling and gameplay. GeekWire said that it was easily the best single-player Halo campaign that 343 has made yet. In other words, when Halo Infinite finally launched, many felt the core gameplay had recaptured the series' magic. However, the launch was bittersweet. Before that release, 2020 gameplay had provoked fan criticism, forcing 343 Industries and Microsoft to delay the game by a year. And even when it did launch, it was missing key features players expected. No co-op campaign, no Forge, no theater mode, limited multiplayer playlist, and 343 had already warned that both campaign, co-op, and Forge would miss launch, but that didn't help things. Critics and fans quickly noted this absence of classic features, something that Halo has struggled with mightily in its last few games, and fans were feeling disappointment. PC Gamer put it, Halo Infinite was fun at first, but it was a flaming dumpster fire within a month. In short, the initial reception was mixed. Excitement over its return to form, combat, and campaign, tempered by frustrations about its incomplete state. Hello everyone, my name's HOLLOWTIDE, and in today's video, I want to take a look back at Halo Infinite over the last 4 years. I've tried really hard to gather as much information as I can. It's kind of hard going back and picking out things that I thought were the most important, so if I missed anything, please, in the comments down below, let me know. It's crazy to think that it's been 4 years since this game came out, but here we are. And with the new Halo Campaign Evolved game coming out next year, I really do hope that Halo Studios has learned from their mistakes. Even though that game is not launching with multiplayer, hopefully something else comes out. Remember, if you love Halo content, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to reach 20,000 subs by the end of this year, and honestly, we could do it. All you have to do is hit that button, and I would greatly appreciate it. At launch, Halo Infinite's multiplayer surprised fans with old-school arena combat with new touches. And quite honestly, this did attract a huge player base. There was a ton of hype around Halo Infinite, with multiple streamers and other content creators so excited to play the game. And by January, the game had already reached over 20 million players. But again, there was much criticism to be had. Some early challenges was the Battle Pass, the pricing of the store, the post-launch events. Players were required to wait weeks to finish challenges, but 343 promised to listen, tweeting that feedback was being heard loud and clear, even as they took a very long holiday break after launch. It's not to say that I don't think people can take vacation time, I just think it was maybe a little bit of bad optics and probably not a great time to do it. One of the most common issues, and a joke that is still used today, was because of Infinite's free-to-play system, you have to pay for the color blue. And this really did irk longtime players, including myself. As we go into 2022, the excitement of having a new Halo game gave way to massive concerns. Season 1 ran unusually long, content was limited, players demanded better playlists, including classics like SWAT, more maps, and we were all wondering where co-op and Forge was. There were a ton of articles coming out about the player exodus, showing the concurrent user counts on Steam had plummeted since launch. Many felt that Halo Infinite had missed its moment. They managed to almost nail the feel of Halo, but they didn't know what to do once it was there. Throughout 2022 and 2023, 343 Industries gradually filled in missing pieces. They finally added campaign co-op and mission replay. Forge went into beta. There were free updates that brought new maps and modes, new battle passes, and as 343 put it in a Waypoint blog, the first year of Halo Infinite has been one of many tough lessons learned. But they were confident that they were going to turn the corner in 2023 with regular content updates. Alongside these updates, players were given access to all of the core armor cores and base coatings for free, which was a response to all the complaints about locked cosmetics. The narrative side had the campaign end on a cliffhanger, and it was leaked and rumored that there would be story DLC coming, but Unfortunately, as we've come to know, that was all canceled. In 2022 through 2023, the Halo TV show series launched and featured in-game unlocks, but I am sure we do not need to touch on that. While the campaign was not seeing updates, the multiplayer evolved with seasonal updates and storytelling. Seasons actually got shorter, and each season also introduced new maps and modes, and sometimes large mechanics. Infection came back. Forge had seemingly had a huge upgrade with AI enemies and scripted behaviors. But during this time, we saw the roadmap switch into a lot of community-created content. This can be seen as both a positive and a negative, with much of the content coming in the recent years being from Forgers and not from 343 or Halo Studios. Also during this time, 343 completely overhauled the networking model in response to desync and lag complaints. They also introduced easy anti-cheat. Both of these things are up for interpretation on how they make you feel. And in this time, we also had new weapons such as the Bandit and Bandit Evo come and take place in Ranked. In fact, there has always been a couple of weapon balance patches and updates as the seasons go on. Sometimes I sit there and think, what if Halo Infinite had actually launched content complete? And what if it had a huge new game mode like Warzone 2.0? What if we got that campaign DLC? Would we still be in the same place in terms of the player count? And honestly, I don't know. Halo Studios has done a ton of work on Halo Infinite, and most people said that they had sunset and abandoned the game after year 2, but they kept chugging along, and I do commend them for that. Unfortunately, in this day and age, a lot of developers and companies think that with live service games that you can release them and then finish, them as you go and update them and everything will be honky-dory. But unfortunately, first impressions matter so much in today's gaming environment that it's hard to come back from such negative press. Even when Halo Studios was adding new content and new weapons, people gave them backlash because they were using reused assets. It's kind of a lose-lose situation at that point. But has Halo Studios learned from their past missteps? To me, on the positive side, they've shown a willingness to listen and to adapt. They publicly admitted they needed to fix many issues. They were trying to address key areas of player feedback and had delivered frequent content and fixes up until this point. They've changed the Battle Pass economy over time, XP as well. They added Spartan points so that people could try to earn cosmetics just for playing. Daily and weekly challenges were improved and new events and weapon variants had been added regularly now. In fact, we've even gotten new vehicles. In my honest opinion, I think their communication has also improved. It's hard for them to talk about things in the future and those titles, but I do think the community team does a good job in relaying feedback, even if you guys hate them. Now, that's not to say that some issues didn't linger longer than people wanted, especially at the beginning. And it kind of felt like issues that players were going to want addressed, like immediately, were further down the roadmap. Many felt unlockable colors and playlists seemed like a simple fix, but it took a long time for those things to arrive, and a lot of people blame the limitations of like the menu. It just kind of felt like deja vu for Halo fans. But again, I think that there has been some course correction. I personally think that the studio is aware of its old mistakes, and the new leadership appears determined to not repeat those mistakes. I think the shakeup between the leadership and the employees is a direct response to what happened with Halo Infinite. Some might even consider the failure of Halo Infinite to be the best thing that could have happened to Halo in general. That remains to be seen. Throughout Halo Infinite's journey, the community's voice has been loud and varied. Fans were relieved to have classic Halo gunplay. HCS was still drawing large amounts of players and fans. It really felt like there was a core community that was engaged, but criticism has been equally vocal. Social media, forums still debate 343's decisions back then, and many of the issues had led to an undercurrent of distrust from fans. But as we all know, the player count of the game has dwindled, and there's really no update or amount of press, I think, that will get players back in large quantities, no matter how fun I think the game is. Another significant factor that we've touched on in this video has been the behind-the-scenes changes at Halo Studios. Microsoft announced thousands of job cuts, and 343 was hit hard back then, losing over 60 employees. Many of the layoffs were the campaign team, and with rumors swirling, the new studio head went on record to say, Halo and Master Chief are here to stay, and 343 will continue to develop Halo now and in the future, including epic stories, multiplayer, and more of what makes Halo great. And while that gave people some hope, it's hard not to see the other side of it. The shifts toward contractors have always been a sore point. The adoption of the Unreal Engine for future projects is another key point, and hopefully this should allow smaller teams to work more quickly on Halo games. Looking ahead, the future of Halo Infinite and Halo in general is always cautiously optimistic. As of right now, we don't know of any new multiplayer coming out within the next year, but it is confirmed that Halo Infinite will still receive updates going forward. Again, with the player count dwindling, I'm not sure how much support we can expect. That slow rollout of core features in that first year has left a deep scar, and even with things like the custom game browser and Forge making those fun game modes available, people just didn't come back. HCS also came to an end with the World Championship, but there will still be events hosted next year. But many of those pro players are already looking for the next opportunity, some moving to Call of Duty. I think over these last few years, Halo Infinite stands out as a cautionary tale. It returned to a more classic Halo gameplay feel, something many fans thought would be lost, but it also showed what happens when a live service game ships without all the expected pieces. Looking back, it's clear that Halo Studios had to learn hard lessons. The studio reshaped itself, it's listening to player feedback, steadily added content to a game that many thought was abandoned. It's kind of crazy that we get more content updates, more vehicles, more weapons now than we did in the first 2 years. And while I think that criticism for the franchise is never far behind, I think the community's passion keeps the series alive. I, for one, am interested to see what they will add to Halo Infinite going forward, although I can't really expect too much. That's going to do it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace!